Alright, so today's question for the reference video is how does a storm change your atmosphere? If you look at the planets, every planet with an atmosphere can have a storm. So this is Mars, Europa, Vulcan, and Venus. And if you don't know, if you have a storm, the temperature is changing and also the pressure, of course. And the question is, how does the temperature change if you have a storm? Let me show you how I measured this. Let's go to Europa. I create a world here. Let's make it T3. And yeah, so the question is, let me just grab quick a tablet here. As you can see, you have a temperature of 149 degrees minus at Europa, and the question is if you start a storm. So if you go into the console, F3, storm start, you can start the storm. And as you can see, the lander is heading up. Okay. As you can see, the temperature is changing. Yeah, before we had 140 something, and now we have minus 172. So this is one question, and the other question is how is the daytime changing is it dependent on the daytime? This is what I wanted to say. So if you have a sun time of 0, this means sunset. Yeah. Yeah. Let's turn on the tablet so you can see. So we have the sunset. If we put 0.25, we have noon, and as you can see, the temperature is already changing. 0.5 means sunset. I think I said sometime 0 is sunrise, of course. So, and 7.75 is midnight. Yeah. So these are the three measure points I took, because on most planets they change the temperature. So now let's bring up my measurement here. And here we go. So, as you can see, I measured it for every planet. So, sunrise, noon, sunset, and midnight. And here you have the temperatures for Mars. Oops. Here you have the temperatures for Mars. And as you can see, the temperature on Mars is dropping. So, the green line is if you have the storm, is the storm temperature. And as you can see, the temperature is dropping by, let's say, roughly 20 degrees. Yeah. So if you have noon, you are sitting at minus 3 degrees. If you are at sunset, you're sitting at minus 13 degrees. And the interesting part is if you are at midnight and you get a storm at midnight, your temperature is not dropping. Your temperature is rising. As you can see, at midnight you have temperature of minus 75 degrees. And if you have a storm, it changes to minus 23 degrees. Right, what we can do with this, I want to discuss at the end, but let's go to the next planet. So this is Europa. As you can see, Europa has a baseline of minus 100, let's say 50 degrees. And it is only changing by 10 degrees at noon. And if you have a storm, we have a constant offset to the temperature, and in Europa's case, it is all dropping. Yeah, as you can see, if you remember in Mars, if you had a minus temperature, it was rising, but on Europa, it is even dropping further. So you have to deal with very, very cold temperatures if you have a storm. Let's go to the next one, Vulcan. As you can see, Vulcan has a baseline of let's make it 280 degrees for these three measure points, and the only thing is where the temperature is changing is noon, and Vulcan has of course one of the highest temperatures in the game. that you can have on any planet. And here you see it is dropping. It is dropping by 200 degrees here even. So if you have a storm at noon, the temperature is dropping to 475 degrees here. And the other temperatures, they rise. Yeah, as you can see here, you have a temperature of 126, and the temperature is rising if you have a storm. And it is rising by 150 degrees roughly. The last planet, of course, Venus has a constant temperature or over all day cycles, and it has a constant temperature change. It's dropping the temperature to 365 degrees. Yeah, or let's make it 366 degrees. So this is pretty much, Venus is pretty easy to remember. Now, the question is, what can you do with this? In my current series, I discovered this change in I was not aware about the change in temperature if you have a storm, but yeah, I spotted it, and I wanted to make a comparison for all the planets. And on Venus, this means normally you have to cool down this temperature, and if you have a cooling, this is putting your cooling system to to a little bit of stress, let's say. And if you can collect the storm gas, the storm atmosphere, you have saved yourself cooling 100 degrees. Yeah, as you can see here, the temperature difference is 100 degrees. And this means for every mole you save, let's say, roughly 3000 joules, which you don't have to cool. You just have to collect the storm gas. This is very interesting, and in my current series it worked very well. Now the question is, Vulkan. On Vulkan, it is somewhat common that you have a Stirling setup, for example, and you collect the night temperature. Yeah, you collect the night temperature, and when you have a day, you use no, hang on, you collect the day temperature atmosphere, and if you have a night, you use this as your surrounding atmosphere for the Stirling engine, and you feed it the day temperature, and this gives you on Vulkan quite a good amount of energy for your Stirling just by the temperature difference. Now you have to check if you have a storm. This will bring your system out of place, because as you can see, if you, for example, collect atmosphere at a storm, you have a temperature change quite significant. Or if you have a storm at night, the temperature difference between your day collected atmosphere and your night temperature is quite a difference, and your system will not work quite it is working. Yeah. Words. I hope you catch my drift. This is something to consider. On Europa, I'm not sure. Maybe your batteries get a harder hit with this temperature change. Otherwise, I'm not sure how you use it. If you find something, maybe let me know. But on Europa, I cannot see any significant difference. On Mars, on the other side, on Mars it could be, because on Mars it is very common to have just a passive vent and feed outside atmosphere into your room. And of course, this could bring, so the temperature change, if you have a storm, could bring this out of place. So you have to consider maybe a shutdown system for if you have a storm, you shut all the valves or something like this. Yeah, so this is pretty much the reference. this is, yeah, and this is pretty much all I wanted to show. I make this reference video mostly for myself, and so I can go back. It is yeah, the reference is for basic game mechanics, and in this case it is a storm. And yeah, this is pretty much it. I hope you have a good day and see you.